Paul is in Athens, and he's waiting for his guys to show up. He's ahead of them. He's waiting for his guys to show up. And while he's waiting, he's looking around at this city, and it says he's deeply distressed by what he sees. Verse 16 says, while Paul was waiting for them in Athens, he was deeply distressed when he saw that the city was full of idols, idolatry. Paul was looking around and he recognized these people were lost and that he needed to do something about it. It says he was deeply distressed. He was burdened in his soul. He was grieved because everywhere he looked, people were worshiping everything but the one true God. And Athens was known for this. Ancient writers joked, it's easier to find a god in Athens than a man. The city of Athens was the center of thought for things like philosophy and debate and new ideas. So think Hollywood, think Silicon Valley, think TED Talks. This was Athens in a nutshell. Athens shaped culture for the world. And the people of Athens were spiritual, but they didn't know God. And Paul's looking around going, this ain't right. So let me just start with this. Movements of God start with a holy burden. A holy burden. Movements of God don't start with a team coming up with a strategy for how to reach their city. That's part of it, but that's after. Movements of God start with one person or a group of people whose heart breaks for a city, for a village, for a people group. And then things start to happen when those people act. But it starts inside with a burden. Let me give you an example. Most people don't know the name Jeremiah Lanphier. And Jeremiah Lanphier started what became the Fulton Street Revival. This was in Manhattan long ago, at a time where there was economic crisis and everybody was moving out of Manhattan, including the churches. And this guy, who was a businessman turned minister, said, no, this isn't right. He had a burden for this part of the city, and he began a prayer meeting. And the first day, he prayed for 30 minutes by himself. And then the next day, 6 people showed up. And then the next day, 20 people. And then all of a sudden, it was hundreds. And then all of a sudden, it was thousands. And then over 1 million people had come to faith because of this one man's burden for a part of New York City and his willingness to get on his knees and start praying for these people. And that's what's happening in Paul. It says he's grieved, he's burdened, he's distressed. And it tells us that things can't stop with a burden. They start with a burden. Because a lot of us feel things and then do nothing. Verse 17 says, so he reasoned in the synagogue with the Jews and with those who worshiped God, as well as in the marketplace every day with those who happened to be there. So he basically got up and did something. I heard a preacher say, to his congregation, when's the last time you heard God speak to you? When's the last time you heard God tell you something? And he says, did you do it? Did you do it? And then he asked them the question, if you didn't do it, do you think God should keep on talking to you? Should you expect to continue hearing from God when you didn't do what he already asked you to do way back there, miles and miles back? I mean, how many of us like to repeat ourselves? He said, that'll preach. But that will preach. But here's the thing. I want to add to it. There's this dimension to God that's unlike us. And his grace is beyond our understanding. And so I'm not going to leave anybody here with, if you didn't do that, you need to run back there and do it. Maybe you do need to. But all you got to do is start listening right now. When God tells you to move, move now, because he will talk to you again. But it may be why you haven't been able to hear from him for a long time.